Annie, what do you think? You gonna let me wear that? I love it. What's up, Zach?
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Thanks
you.
for joining me today.
My pleasure. I'm kind of excited to go through some of these throwback looks.
You're suitably suited.
Thank you. Yes. Well, anytime I'm wearing clothes that are acceptable, it's the credit to Annie Salteris, who's here, who's my stylist. Otherwise, it's pretty bad style on my own. If I'm left on my own.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get to that.
Yeah,
I'm going to
okay.
ask you about that.
Okay.
But first, we're going to throw it back, and we're going to start with Parks and Recs,
Oh.
and we're going to talk about Andy.
Woo! That's some office style right there. The short sleeve business attire with a tie that was always tied intentionally too short. That was my my touch. I always wanted to.
You had your say there.
Yeah.
Why did you want to do that?
I just think it's funnier and sort of like, you know, this is a comic relief character. I know that that's not how you're supposed to tie your tie. And also made him look bigger.
How did dressing like that sort of help you with the character?
This was the easiest time in the makeup chair and through wardrobe of any job I've ever had. I would roll into base camp about 10 minutes before I was supposed to be camera ready.
Okay.
Just throw on my clothes, go in. I don't think I would even really do hair and makeup, and I would just show up. It was nice, you know. This is when he was working in the office, but otherwise it was going to be like sweatpants, cargo shorts, band t-shirts. He was really influenced by 90s, you know, grunge butt rock music, and so that was kind of his thing.
Talk to me, what's butt rock music?
Butt rock? Maybe you're a little too young, but in the 90s there was this era of music like Pearl Jam, and I wouldn't call Pearl Jam butt rock, but that style of music of like Hootie and the Blowfish and Pearl Jam and Eddie Vedder mixed with like all of that sort of grungy kind of white frat rock. That was sort of his style.
How did you sort of resonate with the character? Did you at all?
Oh my gosh, yes. He was essentially my clown. So like I grew up, all comedy, you know, not to get too deep, but they say it all is sort of born in pain, you know, and I think that learning how to make people laugh is a great salve for any emotional stuff you're going through. And so we had, you know, I had a great childhood and all that stuff because we always laughed, but we didn't have a lot of money, and there was certain things that we were always going through. And so learning how to make people in my family laugh, it was my way of dealing with things that were tough. And so this clown, this character of Andy, sort of this guileless goofball who's really earnest, but also hopefully intelligently played really stupid. That was the character that's how I always made people laugh, is I'd go into a character that was like Andy. It was an opportunity for me to really just breathe that comedic spirit into a character.
Would you like to wear a super short tie again and jump back into that role?
I don't know. I maybe it would be fun because I think Andy works best when he's a little chunky, so it would be fun to gain like another 60 pounds and get to go back to that life. That was pretty fun, to be able to just eat and drink anything I wanted to. But I was young then, so I think my body could handle it. Now I think I'm a little too old to try to gain a bunch of weight again. I'd probably die.
That leads us on to the next picture quite nicely.
Okay, here we go. And whoa, there he is. Oh, duck face.
Were you filming?
I was filming. This was for when I was trying to get jacked up for Guardians of the Galaxy. The reason I got Guardians of the Galaxy beyond just auditioning was I had done this movie called Zero Dark 30, and I had to get sort of strong for that, and it was in between seasons of Parks and Rec, so I was ballooning up, you know, sort of like yo-yoing my weight a bunch, and I got in pretty good shape for Zero Dark 30, and I took a picture. I was always sending them to my brother and say like, hey, this is my progress pic, you know. So I sent him one, and he's like, dude, you look great, and then he saw the movie Zero Dark 30, he was like, your shirt is never off. No one ever knows that you got in shape. Like, that was such a waste. We were actually backstage of an American talk show at the time it was on, called Jay Leno. He was like, you should show the picture of you with your shirt off on Jay Leno tonight. I was like, we've already like we've already established what the interview's going to be about. I can't just inadvertently bring a picture up. He's like, man, I'm telling you, people need to know that you can get in shape because they think you're like this fat slob, but you can actually get in shape. You should let them know. I was like, I don't know how to naturally just like take a picture of myself and show it to the world. So, cut to a few months later, I was on Ellen, and in the picture, I happened to be wearing Ellen underwear. So I was like, you know what, maybe this is the chance to show it. So anyways, I showed that picture of me in the underwear that I was in good shape that I had sent to my brother. It's all kind of a long story, but I promised Lisa this. And then it kind of went viral. And so later, when I was auditioning for Star-Lord, they pulled that picture out. They had like printed it off the internet, that actual picture. My brother was right. He goes, you were in shape here. Do you think you can get in shape?
Wow.
And I was like, yes, yeah. Like, how much time do I have? And they said, you have about 8 months. I was like, yes, I can do it. And so that leads up to this picture. And I took this picture knowing that there's a certain hunger for people in having transformations. So I took this picture knowing that probably it would be helpful for me as like a person to show the world. And then I think I posted it. And I had to make sure to get the duck face just right. You know, if I don't have a deadline, I kind of can't get things done.
Okay.
And so there's no better deadline than you're going to have your shirt off and there are going to be cameras pointed at you on this date.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so there you go. And, you know, there's a guy named Simon Watterson who is a British guy, and he's trained a bunch of people. I worked with him and Duffy Gaver in Los Angeles and a whole bunch of people. It's nice because I grew up as an athlete and played sports, and there's certain things I learned as a wrestler and a football player that I could apply to my acting, which was nice. You know, just to kind of get after it, grind in the gym type of mentality was something that I really enjoy.
Obviously, your father-in-law is a very notoriously jacked
I know.
guy.
I know. Periodically, I'll say to Catherine, I'll be like, I'll flex, and I'm like, oh, never mind. That's not going to do anything for you. It's impossible. I'm never going to impress her.
Do you ever work out with him? Does he give you tips?
Yeah, I've worked out with him. Yeah, he's super open about it, and he's really smart about that stuff. I mean, before he was an actor, he was Mr. Olympia, and so professional bodybuilder, and he's a wealth of knowledge and a vast array of topics, including how to build muscles that look good on camera. Speaking of muscles that look good on camera, oh damn.
The next one is touched on it, Star-Lord.
Star-Lord, Guardians
Probably
Volume 2.
I mean, I've got a nephew who is 6.
Okay.
And I told him we were doing this. And his excitement was crazy.
Was that right?
Yeah, I think you are. This is the role that you're most well known for.
I think that's probably. I think that's fair. Yeah.
Were you a fan of his before you stepped into that leather trench?
Well, Peter Quill, the character. Yeah. You know, I had oddly collected only a small number of comic books as a kid growing up, and one of them was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, wow.
However, it was not the iteration of Guardians of the Galaxy which included Star-Lord, so it was this different version that came out in probably like in early to mid-90s, and so that's when I got that. And I also got one called the Infinity Gauntlet, which is really weird because it's about Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet, and so it's like art imitating life to grow up and be able to play a character from those comics. So I didn't know about Star-Lord at all, and then I auditioned for him, and it was kind of nice actually, because I think if there's source material or if there's a version of the character that's been on screen before, you're going to always be compared to that. If another actor has played it, or if, you know, it kind of sets a precedent for how the character should be perceived, or audiences have expectations around what you're going to bring. And so it was nice because I got to just be completely myself and breathe my own spirit into this guy.
What was sort of day one like getting into to be an action hero?
Man, it was hectic, dude, because I was convinced I was going to get fired, and it was really remarkable. I think some of the earliest stuff we did was from the first Guardians. We were shooting at Long Cross out here. It's a big outdoor stage, and they had created this incredibly elaborate, epic space landscape of the planet Morag, which is, you know, supposed to be an ocean floor. The tides have receded enough to reveal this ocean floor. And so there are geysers shooting water 50 feet in the air, and massive coral reefs that are carved out of whatever, you know, set decoration that they did. It was truly beautiful. It felt like you were on a theme park ride at Disneyland or something like that. And I'm supposed to be running through this thing, And they had just put the mask on me for the first time. And the first take, they're blowing this wind, and the wind is blowing at like 50 miles an hour. This giant fan blowing the wind. And I cannot see anything. And the helmet just flies off. And so it was like, oh, we got to figure out how to do this helmet. And so they actually bolted it together so it was on my head. And I could not see at all because like the little windows got immediately fogged up. And I was expected to sprint at full speed across this like set with all these geysers of water. And I was like, just point me in the right direction. I'm going to run as fast as I can. And I hope I don't smash into something.
I mean, it's quite an epic outfit.
Yeah.
But the weaponry was probably sort of the fun part.
For me, the jacket. The long duster, yeah. The jacket and the boots. I mean, I remember hearing one time from an actor that they didn't feel like they fully knew the character until they literally put the shoes on. You know, like you walk a mile in the shoes of a person, you know who the person is. So to put those boots on and to put that jacket on, it really informed the walk because it has a weight to it and a flow to it. And you know, all of this is from volume 2. This look with the scarf and the shirt. But yeah, I remember that duster was just like, it felt so cool to wear that thing, and I mean, it's so elaborate. Beautifully designed, so bespoke, like it's just a one-of-a-kind piece.
As superhero costumes go, it's probably one of the most wearable, I'd say, for men outside of the galaxy.
Right.
And I think it has become a bit of a menswear sort of thing. People hype about it.
I agree. I think, there was it was like somewhere between Mad Max and Star Wars, and so it's this sort of space pirate. By the way, it's really colorful. And what was interesting about the clothing as they designed it was they wanted to use leather, but of course this is from space. So where does leather come from? From cows. Cows are earthly beings, and so they had to design leathers with a texture that would feel like it's otherworldly, like it's come off of a beast from another planet. So all of the leathers were either stamped and just like it felt like a combination of like leather and lizard skin or something. So it was really special, and each of the medallions and all the buttons, it was all intended to be made from a material that does not look like it's from Earth.
Okay,
that's kind of neat.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
there's things that are nice about films that people don't think.
It's all the care and the craftsmanship, and in our costume design was really mindful of all of that.
The next image, we take it away from the
Oh,
galaxy.
wow.
And we're back on real Earth.
Yes.
This was the early years.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember?
I remember everything about this red carpet. This was the Critics' Choice Award, and I was stoned. I remember it was a big mistake. I smoked weed on the way to this red carpet, and it was like, what am I doing? That was such a mistake. I was instantly paranoid, and like this was back in the day when I don't do that anymore, but I sure did then. And I was like, oh, that would be a good idea to go talk to all these people at the Critics' Choice Awards. And the whole time I just remember, as you always do, I don't know if, I'm not judgmental of anybody if that's what they choose to do. I decided not to because it always felt the way I felt in this picture, which was like, everyone thinks I'm high. They all know that I'm high. Everyone thinks that I'm stoned right now. That guy knows I'm high. Oh my God, what am I doing? Hide it. I'm like, why would I do that to myself? But it was a very special night. This was on Everwood. I think the show got nominated for something, and so we got to go. It was my first big awards ceremony. And I'm trying to think of this. I think the suit, I can't remember where I got it from.
I was going to say, did you have a stylist at this point?
No.
So
I wouldn't have had a stylist at this point. I think I would have went to like Men's Warehouse or something like that. Look, you can tell because I have all 3 buttons buttoned.
Yeah.
If I had a stylist, they would have been like, no, don't button that bottom one. Yeah.
I'm quite into the look.
Oh, really?
I think there's something quite modern about it now.
Now?
In that, like, early noughties, but now it's sort of... There's
This could come back?
cool
I
edge
could bring
to
this
it.
back?
Yeah.
I'd probably fit into it again. I gotta see if I have that suit.
Your red carpet nowadays.
Yes.
How do you feel about dressing for the red carpet? You've obviously got a stylist.
I've got a stylist, and she is the best. Paul Smith makes a lot of really incredible custom stuff, and I just love it. And it's like we've done so many of these events now over the past 10, 15 years that we're always trying to do something we haven't done before, and we get to this, like a slightly wilder color spectrum. It's like, what was this, like an aubergine or no, like a lavender or something like that. It's a beautiful suit. Beautiful suit, white shoes. Okay, look at this. That's the smile of a guy who didn't get stoned on the way to the
And then, just to finish with Mercy.
Yes.
It's about AI dictating your fate.
Yes.
What I want to know is, would you, the way that the world is going, would you allow AI to dictate your wardrobe?
No way. No. There's far more value in the intelligence that Annie has. There's nothing artificial about it. She's got her finger on the pulse. No, I don't think so. I don't think I would. I think art is something that it can't quite be created. Perspective, right. The perspective of a stylist, that's something that's, because you're not only following trends, you're also setting trends. And so like to be part of that is really great. And I think AI is kind of a collective aggregate. You're always going to be a step behind if you're using AI.
Yeah.
They're not going to be innovative. They're just going to be kind of taking a glimpse at everything that's happened and kind of creating something that's based on everything else that someone else is doing, but nothing like this where you're like, hey, let's try something else. But wearing a really beautiful custom suit on the red carpet,
yeah,
it feels really good.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.